GameBreakers is home to everything esports and basketball. Let's break the game.
Welcome back to the GameBreakers, guys. My name's Dave Finley, and this is my co-host, Cam.
And we got an exciting episode today. We're going to be interviewing Michael Chang. So anybody who's seen Star Trek, or if you've seen Law & Order Toronto, you've definitely seen this guy. So
Michael
definitely
Chang.
Excited for that.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He's great. He's funny. He's a good actor. He's a Canadian actor. That's what we really love. He really chose to break the game, and it's hard for Canadian actors out here, you know. But he really stepped up, and he's really doing it big. So we're proud to have him in the studio. It's going to be an awesome interview.
And what's going to make it really special too is our host Cal used to teach him. You know,
yeah,
so
which is that's absolutely epic. It's like a teacher and student get to, you know, after 10, 15 years, 20 years of teaching, you know, it's like holy.
Full circle moment for sure.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's great. So we're excited. I hope you guys are all excited at home. It's going to be an amazing episode. Since we're talking about film and TV series today, we're going to jump right into some hot topics and what we think, me and Cam, what our top favorite TV series of all time is. And I got to start it off. I'm going to start it off with Ozark.
That's a good one.
Ozark, yeah, classic.
Oh my God.
You know what? I wasn't big on it at first when I first saw it, and it's actually like a known fact when a lot of people watched the first 3 episodes and then didn't watch any more of it, and that was their biggest mistake.
Hugest
because
mistake.
Episode 4 is when it starts to get crazy.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, the whole TV show is about a guy who gets stuck in a situation with his wife and his kids, and they need to make some extra money, and he gets a chance to money launder. He's an accountant, so he gets to money launder for the cartel. And it ends up being like, and he gets in a position with his friend. His friend ended up ripping them off in a deal where he didn't know about it at first.
That's right.
So he just ended up being the guy. So it was either die or start working for the cartel.
Yeah.
And you know what, man? Jason Bateman.
Yeah, Marty in the show, yeah.
Yo, he's usually like a comedian, and like he plays like a different, like, you know, horrible bosses and kind of stuff like that, right? So when I seen him play this serious role, it was like, wow, he like really did a good job on playing like a serious role. Like he got in a lot of high energy and high tension moments in this show. You know, like when they had to shoot Buddy on the runway, the cartel boss, like it was so unexpected. Yeah. You know, to see him get shot on the runway, it was like, holy, that was like a climax of that TV series. So it shows a good life of an accountant that has to do this for the cartel or your family's gonna die, and it's just such a good job on how they get out of it, and they did such a good good job with that show.
Is at the beginning of the show, not to give away too much, but Wendy cheated on Marty.
Yeah,
so they were very much divided.
Yeah, it was big time.
But you start to see
throughout the whole series
how deadly they are when they start working together. They're like a power couple, and they're just brilliant together. So
I think
really
Wendy.
Cool to see their characters
I think
progress.
Wendy was the power couple.
Yeah,
she was the powerful one because she was up there with the government, with the politicians, with the with everybody.
She was a mover and a shaker.
Exactly. So once she found out really what Marty was doing too, you know what I mean? Like she had to.
He was more of the strategist behind the scenes.
He was the money guy.
He put the plays in motion. Always stayed calm.
Yeah, he was the one that made sure the family was good financially and they were safe. But she was the one that if they weren't, she was the actual badass. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely great.
For sure, man. But it was a great show, great TV show. And what was your favorite show, you think?
For me, it was a tough one because there's so many shows I like. Like I like The Sopranos.
Yeah.
And
Sopranos was hard.
Breaking Bad was amazing too. But I got to go with The Wire. And why I love The Wire is because it really shows you what it's like to grow up in the tough streets of Baltimore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you don't usually you get the perspective of just the police and the criminals.
True, like
show,
a Law and Order shows just the cops, you know, it's like it doesn't show the life of everybody.
Yeah. And usually like if they do show the life, they have cliche roles.
Okay.
But you saw the human side, like McNulty was a cop, but they show he was an alcoholic and he had flaws.
Yeah.
And then you see some of the gangsters that are quoting like Shakespeare and stuff like that. So they showed intelligence. You know what I'm saying? One character that I really liked was Marlo Stanfield.
Okay.
He was one of the kingpins. So prior to Marlo Stanfield,
yeah, I've never seen the show, so you'd have to tell me. Like I don't know who that is, right? So like
there was Avon Barksdale that was in what movie was he in again? He was in Paid in Full.
Oh, nice. That was a great movie too.
Avon Barksdale was the one kingpin. He was all about muscle and, really flexing and demanding respect.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas Stringer Bell, who was played by Idris Elba, was very much more about strategy and business.
Nice.
But then Marlo, who's a young guy, comes on the scene, and he's like a hybrid of both of them.
Okay.
And this guy is in Baltimore, and he's treating Baltimore like a chessboard. Thinking about 5 moves ahead.
Oh, yeah.
He had the muscle behind him. He had the strategy. He had the respect.
Taking over.
And he took over.
New Jack City,
man. So it was dope to see him in that role. And every episode, especially when you start.
I'm gonna watch that. It was good.
Onward, I was on my toes like every episode. It was really good.
I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah, man, definitely check
Amazing.
that out.
Yeah, man. Some of the TV shows out, it's just like, wow, man. Like, I can't believe how good they made them. Because a lot of TV shows, you got to admit, they're kind of cheesy these days. You know what I mean? So when you see something that has a good script, good actors, and it's like, I like when actors go outside their role. Like, I love Yellowstone for one. Have you ever watched
You put me onto that
Yellowstone
show.
is absolutely iconic, and I was weary of watching that because it's a cowboy show.
Right.
But it is gangster, man. I never knew cowboys get down like that,
kind of like
bro.
Sons of Anarchy meets like the Cowboys.
Yeah,
in a
man,
way,
I'm telling you,
they were gangster.
And Kevin Costner killed that role.
Such a great role. What was his daughter's name again?
Beth.
She was deadly
Beth,
too.
I'm telling you, man. Yeah, she don't play around. She's like the heart of that family. She's an alcoholic, but you just don't get in her path. You don't cross paths with that ranch. You don't cross paths with that. You can cross paths with Jamie, the other brother, the adopted brother. Yeah. She don't care about that, but you cross paths with her dad or like her other brother there or the farm, you're getting cooked.
Jamie found out the hard way later on without giving too much away.
Yeah. No, it's a great show, and anybody that hasn't watched Yellowstone, you guys definitely got to watch
check that out.
Yeah, so check those shows out, guys. The Wire. Check out Yellowstone. Check out Ozark. Those are our top 3 probably right there that you need to watch like today.
You'll be glued to your seat, guaranteed.
Yeah. If you're not watching the Game-Breakers, go watch that for sure.
Yeah. Good plug.
All right, guys. We're going to get back to you guys after these messages with an amazing interview with Michael Chang. He's been in Star Trek. He's been in Law and Order Toronto and many more different TV series and different TV shows in his journey. And we're going to break that down and break some game with him. So here we go.
Yeah, let's break the game.
Talk to you guys soon.
Peace.
Let's break the game. This episode is sponsored by Satiety. Take your basic essentials to the next level with luxurious and fashionable socks. Designed to elevate your everyday wardrobe, don't settle for ordinary when you can experience greatness. Join the community and step into comfort like never before. Let's break the game.
Welcome, folks, to the GameBreakers. I'm your host, Cal Sigveri, and today we have a very special guest joining us in the studio, actor and filmmaker Michael Chang. A bit about Michael. Originally from Toronto, Michael initially pursued a career in medicine, but discovered his passion for acting while studying human biology and sociology at the University of Toronto. After graduating, he trained at the Toronto Film School and made his mark in theater, starring in productions like Macbeth and the Legend of the Dragon Boat Festival. Transitioning to screen work, he's also appeared in various acclaimed series, including Star Trek Discovery and Murdoch Mysteries. Beyond acting, Michael hosts the podcast Heard Noise, Must Investigate, and has garnered recognition for his filmmaking, particularly for his award-winning micro-short, The Only Asian. Michael, it's an absolute pleasure to have you in our studio.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
We've known each other for quite a few years.
Like almost 20 years.
Yeah. The interesting part of this all is that Michael and I met during his Toronto Film School days.
At the Toronto Film School, yeah.
And so it's come full circle in some ways.
Yeah, it feels like that.
That's wonderful to have you here. With the GameBreakers, we'd like to bring in folks that are leaders or trailblazers. We had Patricia Bibbia on last week talking about her new movie, The Life Coach, and a lot about her. How she was driven to tell a story and the passion to get involved in producing and making creative works. Your story, is really quite incredible, and I think Canada and the world needs to hear more about your success and
Thank you.
And your hard work. We need to recognize this, and it's so incredible to have you here. How did your journey into acting begin? I was kind of there at the beginning too, a little bit. Can you share some moments, at least your experience in that? What ignited your passion? Like, considering what was your original intent, you were to study biology or human biology and sociology. How did that lead to, yourself kind of getting into or becoming interested in acting?
Yeah. So, I mean, before university, I already had the goal to become a doctor. Like, science had always been a big part of my life, and I was and still am very good at it. You know, I keep up with reading scientific papers and keeping up to date with medical stuff nowadays. But that's what I thought I would do because I loved it so much. And my mom had a heart condition, so I watched doctors heal her, and I was like, that's what I want to do. So I went to university thinking, yeah, doctor, human biology, and I met some friends who were in video game development.
Okay.
And so as a hobby, I used to be online quite a bit, on message boards, and I loved Japanese anime, and I sometimes made little audio clips where, like imitated the characters, did their voices, and made little parody skits and stuff. So these friends were like, well, we're doing a game for class, and why don't you bring some of your fun little voices to our game? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And up until that point, I never thought about acting. And I've never acted.
Right.
Music was the only thing I really did artistically.
Yeah.
So I was there with my friends. We're recording these things, and it's like a switch got flipped. It's just, I knew inside my heart that what I was doing with these people, this collaborative piece of work we're doing, however small, was what I wanted to keep doing.
That's
and
amazing.
so I started looking into it, and I started doing more parody stuff online, and just and then I told my parents. But anyways,
I can kind of relate to that because my dad was an engineer. Actually, I mentioned this I think on another episode. So my dad always thought, Cal wants to get into filmmaking. What is that about? And he always thought of that sort of as a I shouldn't say this, but it's like a gypsy living, he would call it, in terms of filmmaking. But it's hard, especially with parents that have a certain way of thinking about your career or your life. Sometimes it's hard for them to understand what it is that you'd like to do.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, just don't want to take up too much time with this question, but my dad, when he was in Hong Kong, when he was in university, he actually did act. He did stage acting. Yeah. And he was also a champion Chinese poetry reader, classic poetry reader. So he's a very artistic man. Wow. And my mom wanted to be a backup dancer when she was young for singers. Yeah. And both their parents discouraged them from that essentially. And by the time they made it to Canada, their thoughts were on survival. Right.
Oh,
so both of them ended up not getting to do what they dreamed of doing artistically. Yeah. So for them to have the mindset that I need a practical job makes sense, right? But, at least I know where I got my genes from.
That's incredible. Thank you. I've got here, what was the transition like from your studies, I guess you could say, from U of T to, say, the Toronto Film School? Like, was there a specific moment when you realized sort of acting? I guess you kind of answered it there in some ways, but was there a time when you sort of realized that acting was your true calling?
I knew when that flip switched, but it's as I was making my way through the Toronto Film School and learning and then volunteering, including for you. The more I did in the Toronto Film School, the more I felt that my decision was right. Because as much as I had resistance, obviously, from not just my parents, but my family and some of my friends, I needed to know for myself, right? Like, I had worked so hard to transition into this. And, door was still open for a quote unquote practical career. One of my professors in university in sociology told me, like, if you want to, come into my program for a master's degree and do research in sociology, you're welcome to come back. So I had doors, but the reality is, as I worked and volunteering, honestly, like even though I was learning, volunteering for you and for several other teachers in the production programs, as an actor, really solidified everything for me. That I knew, like, this is what I want to do. I love working with people, and I love making things come to life. And being a part of that. So it was in the film school that I was, it's just really set in, and I just refused to let it go.
No, it's awesome. Can you share your thoughts on the importance of film education or film mentorship in shaping your career? Do you feel that younger, like newer actors should get involved in low budget? Or
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, actors should always stay educated. They should always be, and I still do, take classes of various kinds, hone your different aspects of the tool that is your body. But not only hone your tool, but to continue to get an understanding of what the industry is like.
Right.
Because if you stop learning, you might fall behind in what the current styles are, mindsets. And having mentors, people who believe in you, is helpful, because without any supports whatsoever, it's very lonely.
Yeah.
Especially with so many people, again, giving pushback on the idea of going into a profession that is so not stable in terms of finances. So, mentorship classes where you meet people and find a support base and continue to understand things, it is absolutely necessary. Now, when it comes to doing low budget films and short films, that's how you build your career. That was my first 5 to 6 years of my career as an actor. I did mostly student films, low budget, indie, and most of the times I got paid with cookies.
And getting it's it's interesting, because I think a lot of young filmmakers, both actors, crew, cast, they don't realize the importance of IMDb credits.
They don't, no.
And I think you and I do understand that, the power of your credits. And
there is a power in credits, because especially if it does end up on IMDb, it's just more it's more legitimizing, right? Than your paper resume, because my paper resume has way more credits than my IMDb. But that's the thing, right? Even if the short films or low budget or student films don't end up on IMDb, the thing that you're doing is making connections. You never know who someone you're working with, who this student director is going to be. Like one of Zach Ness, who I worked on, he was at Ryerson back in the day, and now he's like an incredible, stop motion animation filmmaker. And you know what I mean? Like, these people are going to go somewhere one day. And the more people you meet, the bigger your network gets, and the more people you can collaborate with. And as you all grow together, you change the industry and you make the industry.
Yep. Nice. Hearing words like that, I can really tell that you're a leader. The one thing that I'm faced with, when training younger folks today, and that I'm over at Trebas with the film program there, and I know that this happens at other film schools as well. It's just a lot of them don't understand that they think that they can all make their movies with their phone by themselves. They don't understand that it's about a team and teamwork. And when you talk about networking and working with many people, there's many folks that don't understand that you do have to get to know and understand how to work collaboratively and as a team. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
So GameBreakers, as I said, is about interviewing leaders and trailblazers. That's why you're on, or would to have you. And it's great that you're here. Newer filmmakers are reluctant to embrace the roles of director and producer. There is sort of a lack of leadership aspects, I think, happening at film schools or in a lot of our training, and we're hoping to look at changing that. But if there was a time like sort of on a set, without naming any directors or producers in particular, did you find yourself sort of stepping in at times in some of the scenes or some of the work and having to kind of take charge of what was going on?
So here's the thing. There is a huge difference between being on a multi-million-dollar union set versus, say, an indie short film or feature.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So do I have to step in leadership-wise with, say, a Law and Order? No. Because I am there to bring this very, very large vision to life. Now, if I have questions,
right,
I ask.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, it is collaborative.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily taking a leadership role. It's trying to work with the team that is there to get the vision they want, while also bringing the truth to the character that I want to bring to it. Yes. And once we've hit that, that note together, we're on the same page. Now we can actually get the scene done. But I think more of that happened when I was on Popularity Papers, because I'm one of the leads. And so in that case, things are a little bit different. I'm not just there for an episode or a day, right? I'm there all the time. That's when you can take more time to work with the different directors and sometimes even the writers and producers to try to land certain aspects. Like when we had an episode where because my character is Chinese, and that is one of the aspects that we tried to bring out subtly. And I added a few things on my own because someone walked into my house with their shoes on and didn't take them off. It's not in the script, but like, hey, you don't do that. You do not do that in a Chinese household. So and then the director's like, whoa, wait, what did you just do? I'm like, and I explained myself. Right. And they're like, what? And then we worked together on that. Yep. And that built something. Is it leadership? Maybe. But I think it's more understanding that your role in the team, not undermining the leadership hierarchy of the set, while still being able to get your idea across and see if it works or not. Right? It's a push and a pull. Now, when you're on a smaller set, when the hierarchy of it is not as strong, like especially like a lot of the short films I've done are co-ops, which is where ACTRA union members come together, like we're all friends, to make something. Now we can start really talking to each other about it, because most of us don't have a lot of experience in directing or producing. We're all trying to take on different roles at the same time, at which point if the time arises where I need to, sometimes, I will step up and like, hey, time is short. I have a solution, because this scene's not working out. Here's my idea. Or someone else will do that,
No, that's great.
And that's how it works. So again, it is situational. And you have to use your discretion and use your understanding of where your place is and how in the place that you have and the amount of influence and power that you have in that place, you're still able to work with the people there.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. No, thank you. Before we continue with our exciting conversation, let's take a quick break. When we come back, the talented Michael Chang will dive into his unique approach to acting and shares experiences from iconic series such as Star Trek, Discovery, and Law and Order Toronto. So stay tuned. We'll see you right in a moment here. Thank you.
Simple Stair Solutions is a family-run business that changes your staircase forever. We cap existing staircases in luxury vinyl plank so there is less mess, less money, and no more staining. Check out our flush mount vents reinforced with steel and our new red oak, maple, and hickory staircases stained to match. Contact us today at 905-520-4202. Let's break the game.
Hi, I'm Cal Sigveri. We're back on the GameBreakers with Michael Chang. Michael, what strategies, here we are looking at, it's competitive. The acting world, and especially in Canada for roles, is tough. It's tough to get into television or film in Canada. Have you used certain sort of strategies in order to navigate within the competitive zone or area of, say, with casting directors and auditions? Do you have any advice, I guess you could say, for our listeners or for those young actors that are struggling to get that first role?
Absolutely. First things first, I think actors should really have an understanding of what is filming, where they are. They should be watching the productions that are filmed in the markets that they are getting themselves into.
Okay.
Because once you understand what is being filmed, and because the vibe of, say, Toronto productions are a little different than those of Vancouver productions, let's say, or Calgary productions or Montreal productions. So you need to have an understanding of what is filming here and what it looks like. Casting directors often partner with acting coaches, such as Jeb Beach, for example, to have workshops. And one of the good things that I think all actors should be doing is taking these workshops, putting themselves in front of the casting directors, and having the casting director and the coach work with you to have a better understanding of how this specific casting director likes their auditions and self-tapes to be, because there's also Q&A, right? You can ask questions for that. But also, these types of workshops, especially audition workshops, gives you a good opportunity to get that audition feel while in a more comfortable and supportive environment, right? They're not there to tear you apart. They're there to help you because they want you to succeed. So staying educated in that manner is something I do.
It's a dynamite point, or points. It's interesting you mention that, because sometimes some actors do, they get into certain type of characters or villains, I guess you could say, or whatever, maybe playing a romantic lead in a Christmas film, and they almost get a little pigeonholed. But then again, they become character actors too in some ways. As a person of diversity or Asian Canadian actor, I hope you're okay with this question. Did you feel that there were additional pressures on you and barriers in the industry? And how did you overcome that? I know it's maybe a bit personal. I hope you don't mind. But
I don't mind answering that.
What advice would you give actors, too, that are facing that similar kind of those challenges?
So I will say that in the 20 years that I've been in this industry, things have improved. There's been a lot of progress.
Awesome.
Right? ACTRA has the diversity committee, has ACTRA for the LGBT community, has the subcommittee for the disabled people. So our union has done a lot, and there's been a lot of push for progress. But the thing is, coming up in this industry, I lost my name within my first 5 years. When I started in this industry, my name was Michael Chiwa Chan. Chiwa is my legal, real, actual middle name. And when I started in this industry, I wanted to honor my parents because my middle name is a combination of their names.
Wow.
I got mocked. By actors, by a director, and it was people purposely mispronouncing my name. It went on and on. By the time I joined the union, I remember talking to the person, the administrator at ACTRA, and they were like, "So what name?" Because there are other Michael Chans, right? What name do you want to use? I'm like, "Well, you tell me. Should I stick with Michael Chiwa Chan, or should I just, I don't know, Michael Chan?" And she's like, "You know what? Michael Chiwa Chan is too threatening." It's not her fault. This is not a knock on the administrator. She's just being pretty honest with me. So I said, "You know what? I'm not going to change my name. I'm just, as generic as it is, I'm going to be Michael Chan. But mark my words, I'm going to be the best darned Michael Chan ever, so that one day I can tell the world what my real name is."
Awesome. That is incredible.
And even though I'm not going to be credited as Michael Chiwa Chan, because I want this discussion to continue about names, about the fact that how back then you needed to have a more anglicized name to be less threatening, to not have profiling in this industry.
I remember some of that.
So is this type of that's why I'm going to keep it Michael Chan. But if you ever have a chance to see my autograph, I sign in Chinese, and the Chinese is and it's on my trading card. I have a Star Trek trading card. It's autographed.
That is so cool.
That you can find on eBay. It's my Chinese name. It's Chihuahua.
Awesome.
And I am reclaiming that now because I can. But one more thing I like to mention is that, back then I've had a lot of stuff said to me, and then other Asian actors have had the same thing. Our eyes are too slitty and small. We cannot portray emotions on the screen, as well as, say, white people. Asians are only good for commercials. Who would ever watch you in Shakespeare? Hey, guess what? My second job out of the film school was in the Scottish play, because I'm not going to say the name out loud because I'm an actor. But you get my point.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
We have always faced things like I'm born in Canada. My accent that I speak English with is North American through and through. There is no Chinese in my accent, and yet at one point in my history, I had a casting director outright ask me, "What accent is that you're speaking English with?" I'm like, "Excuse me, what accent is that?" I'm like, "North American? No. Like, what are you? What do you mean? What am I? Like, what's your ethnic background?" Canadian. I'm born here. No. Like, where are your parents from? China.
Wow.
Oh, so that's what it is. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm born here. I don't have an accent. Yeah. And it's these little things because it's somewhere in their heads. And sometimes it's not even, they're not being racist or offensive. It's just when someone walks in and you see them, sometimes your brain just puts a filter on, right? Yeah. And it's this type of filtering and this type of thing that over time, through progress and through work like the Diversity Committee in ACTRA, like all the different, like BIPOC TV and Film, the organization, it's through the work of these people, and I work with them too, that we start breaking down these barriers and take away these filters so people can view us as equals.
Right. Yeah.
And not as others.
Yeah, I'm sorry for that, Michael. But the world is changing, and I think we need to change it, and we will. Okay. So in Star Trek, what character did you play, if you would mind? And tell us a little bit about, that the legacy, with Star Trek and carries all that weight. Can you tell us about what it was like to immerse yourself in a role in a show like Star Trek? How did that come about?
That was a dream come true. I have been a Trekkie since I was a baby. My mom, in the 70s, fell in love with Star Trek because she discovered in North America, she loved sci-fi. She loved Star Trek, Doctor Who, Star Wars, and she had a little bit of a crush on William Shatner, So, I was, baby Michael would watch Star Trek, the original series with my mom, and I just grew to just really want to be a Starfleet officer in that world my entire childhood. So to become an actual Starfleet officer. So I play an ops officer at the Federation HQ in the 32nd century. And I don't have a name. It's just ops officer, except I'm a recurring character. Yep. He is important in the sense that he gives a lot of exposition. I seem to be really good at doing exposition for different shows. I always laugh at that. It seems to be one of my niches that I've fallen into. It's like, we need someone to do exposition. Michael's the guy. But yeah, look, my character did a lot of explaining on Star Trek, but he's also a comms officer. So he does a lot, say what Uhura did back on the Enterprise. Yeah. So that's his job.
Amazing.
And to immerse myself was incredible. The set alone was beautiful. That was my first big set. And I didn't know how not just large, but how real, how much of it was not CG'd.
Right.
And to be on that bridge, to have someone come and start teaching me how to use a Star Trek console. You know what? And then getting to do the ship shake, with the director on the megaphone going, left, right, it was like, it was so great. Wow. But here, and to talk about immersion, so this is a little difficult, a little somber, but my mom passed away while I was filming Star Trek.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She had a 6-month battle of cancer and lost. Yeah. So I filmed my first episode. My mom in the hospital saw my uniform because I showed her a picture because I had told wardrobe my mom was dying, and they don't usually let people take pictures. You can show this to your mom. So I let her see it.
Yeah.
And for her, by the way, to see me in gold, which, Captain Kirk was in gold, it meant a lot to her that her son is in gold as well. Mm-hmm. But she died before the second episode of mine, and it was a multi-day shoot. And look, that episode is a climactic episode with a lot of emotions going on while the character is trying to stay grounded. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you that with all that was going on in my life, to then bring all of that and immerse myself in a ship and a planet that's about to be destroyed, and it was different. And it was, the immersion of that show is so great that I did, for just a moment, forget that I had just lost one of the most important people in my life.
Yeah. Well,
and
I'm sure she was.
But all of the emotions were there.
Yeah.
They were all there in me, playing out on that screen as that character. And sometimes I think because of everything I put into that and immersed myself fully into that world, it's why some fans, despite me not having a name on that show, still know who I am.
Yeah.
It's why I have a card. It's why I've been asked to conventions. That's what I believe. I think it's
dynamite. Dynamite, man. Congratulations.
You know what I mean?
To become, to work on Star Trek, that's fin. I mean, that is incredible. Like, for yourself being a Canadian to be, I'm sure your mom and dad are very proud of you.
They were.
Yeah.
They were.
Awesome.
Star Trek was the first time my dad truly actually went out and told people I'm an actor. Look, I'm not mad at him. I get it. He was a very important person in the Chinese community, and my culture has certain social rules and norms. So acting is not necessarily something positively viewed. So for my dad to be able to go, my son is in Star Trek, that was good for him, and that was good for me. So I didn't have to not talk about it in front of his friends anymore.
No, it's incredible. That's incredible. Are they making a doll of your character?
No.
So, but they've got a card.
I do have a trading card. Well, actually, I have two.
Maybe they will do a doll.
I wish.
That's great. No, I know. My nephew Harry actually does a little construction. He's with IATSE. He does some construction on Star Trek, the sets, and he was saying that they are huge and massive, as you were saying, and really, really well done. Particularly, I mean, it's shot in Toronto, guys, and
it is. All Trek is now filmed in Toronto. So
well, let's get into. I know that we're running a little late here, but so I should ask you a little bit about your recent role in Law and Order Toronto as well. Can you tell us about that role and how you enjoyed or what that playing a role in that iconic series too? What was that? What was that like?
No, it was great. Like I Law and Order and basically like procedurals are a genre that I. So it's not my mom, but it's more me. It's stuff that I watched growing up.
Yes.
And I did watch Law and Order, and I remember when my agent and I were talking about Law and Order Toronto, I'm like, I need to be in this. I need to be in this because like, oh my God, I need to be in this. I want to be a detective so bad. And to to finally be able to do that. And what was very important for me, and it was a shocker too, was that Detective Xiao, my character, works in Chinatown. My dad's office was in Chinatown. I grew up in going to Chinatown with my dad, exploring the back streets that we filmed in.
Right.
And the store, that shop, that picture right there, that herb shop. I had shopped with my mom there. We bought ginseng there.
Oh, right, this shot here?
So that shot is filmed inside, the murder scene is inside this, this herbal medicine shop with a Chinese doctor and all that. They normally, like, I know it's a Filipino shop here, but like, my mom and I shopped there. Like, my mom bought the 4-ingredient soup because that was one of her specialties. She bought all the herbs for it there.
That is cool. Like, it's nice. It's interesting how it's come.
So it was like this full circle moment, and it was the best. Like, I was now a China, and one of my dad's agents. My dad was a real estate broker, owned his own. One of his agents taught kung fu to the Chinatown police force. Just to think that now I am representing them. These people who were really tight with my dad's agent and my dad. They were all knew each other. To play one of them in a place where I grew up, and do honestly one of my favorite episodes. I know I'm biased, but no, seriously, like, it's a good episode. And to be able to perform with Josh De La Cruz from Blue's Clues, who my children absolutely love to bits. What?
That sounds incredible. Sounds wild.
Yeah, no, it was incredible.
Well, I know we're going to wrap up in a moment here, but last question for you. So what's next for Michael Chang? What have you got? What do you see yourself? I mean, obviously acting is there in your life. Do you see directing or producing? What's next for you?
I tried my hand at producing for a little while, and as you know, I have an award-winning micro short.
Right.
I do want to make more short films. I feel shorts are kind of my wheelhouse, especially horror short films. I have some of those, as well as a follow-up to The Only Asian, because that was a film that was directed at the film industry and the Asian experience in it, and that was only one aspect. There's a second one I want to look at, that I have a group of friends who really want to make it with me. But outside of that, I mean, I'm going to continue training. I'm going to continue booking roles. I'm going to continue with my podcast.
Awesome.
I have already begun and retired from my musical career. Yes, I recently released a single called Everybody's Got a Single. What started, it was supposed to be a TikTok joke video. It was supposed to be a skit, and then I ended up actually finding an EDM artist from Scotland to partner with, and we made a song. It's on Spotify. But no, my future, I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue what I'm doing, because my biggest goal as an actor is to use my art to create a big enough platform for me to change, even a little bit, change the world for the better.
Right.
That's what I've always wanted.
Okay.
And I'm going to do it.
That's awesome. It's a great path to go down. I wanted to thank you. Watching you succeed in a really competitive industry. I don't know. I'm just so proud of you. Thank you for joining us today, Michael.
Thank you.
I've hopefully have you back in maybe a year or two, or sooner.
It would be nice.
And then we'll, we're going to be watching for you in your roles. It's been an honor, Michael. Okay. Yeah. Dynamite. Guys, thank you very much for watching the GameBreakers podcast. Watch for it now on ACTRA Global Television Network, as well as Omni TV. Thank you. Have a good day. Good night.
GameBreakers is home to everything esports and basketball. Let's break the game.
Welcome back, guys. What an amazing interview that was, man. Cal interviewing Michael Chan. Like, what a time, man. Like, we're really interviewing some cool people on the GameBreakers, and it's really like, I'm very proud of what we're doing here, man. It's awesome to get people like that.
like I said earlier, it was such a full circle moment for them.
Is.
So just to witness that was
it is
awesome.
when you've taught someone over 20 years ago, and then you see them, go on their journey after you teach them, and just like Cal with us too. Like Cal taught us, and Cal taught our team behind the show, and then to see us all here together, it's like a whole full circle moment. And Michael Chan's really doing great things in acting in Canada, so I really give it to him. And it was a great episode, man.
Definitely proud of the way he's repping the city. He's doing it in a big way.
He's doing great.
Shout
He's
outs
doing
to Michael
great.
Chan.
Thank you all at home for watching. What an amazing time we had here. Don't forget to tune in next week on Afro Global TV, because we are airing on Afro Global TV. And make sure you follow us on all our platforms, on all our social medias, for your chance to win some cash prizes. Thank you for watching, and have an awesome day.
Thank you. Peace.
GameBreakers is home to everything esports and basketball. Let's break the game. The GameBreakers podcast features opinions from its hosts and guests, which do not reflect the views of affiliated organizations. The content is for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be taken as professional advice. The podcast and website are not legally binding, and the hosts make no guarantees regarding the accuracy or completeness of the information. Listeners should consult a qualified professional for specific advice. By listening, you accept responsibility for your own decisions and actions. The creators disclaim any liability for damages resulting from the use or reliance on the podcast's content.